thanks for watching Retro Tech Toys, guys. Today we're going to restore this NES, this original Nintendo Entertainment System. As you can see, it looks pretty bad. This actually belonged to my wife. She's had it for a very long time, and she'd like to see it working again, so we're going to try to do that. So the first thing you'll notice is that it has no door whatsoever. We can take care of that. It has no cover back here. It's supposed to be a little flap or a little cover that clips on there. And it's a little wonky. There's a couple of loose screws. And it's been sitting in storage for a while. It doesn't have anything that goes with it. It doesn't have the RF box. It doesn't have the AC adapter. It doesn't have a controller. All it has is the gun. We're going to see what we can do with this. It's really scratched up. It's yellowed. I'm probably not going to be able to do a whole lot about the yellowing because I don't intend to retro-bright this right now. But we can clean it up and go inside and replace some of the things that need to be replaced. Because also this doesn't load games anymore. It just has the blinking light error. But we're going to fix that up. So let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. And we'll see what it looks like inside. We'll have to get in here and make sure everything's good. I want to check a couple of capacitors too, just to see. I can already see this one big capacitor right here trying to poke its ugly head out, but it looks okay. Alright, yeah, as we can probably see there, we've got quite a bit of dust and some other stuff that we've got to get out. I've already started the process. I've got a couple of screws off back here that we need. What I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and disassemble it down even more because there's so much dust caked in here. We want to get this whole thing cleaned up. And I'm going to turn this upside down and set this on top of here. That way the motherboard's not touching this blanket and getting any static electricity. All right, so we want to replace this. So what we have to do is we're just going to take this old one off, just like that. And then what we're left with is cleaning this and putting the new one on. And what happens is why you get these blinking lights is these are just from the design flaw that the US version of the Nintendo Entertainment System had. As some of you might know, the more you push the cartridge in and have to push it down, the more these pins and stuff start to bend, and they don't make good contact. So it's not just that they're getting dirty, they're actually bending out of shape, and you can kind of go in here and mess with some of them and get them working again, but it's only temporary. And you know, after 20 years, the replacement might start doing the same thing. They sell other replacements where you don't even have to push the cartridge down anymore, but we're not going to worry about that. We just want to get this working and looking as good as we can. And I have here a replacement that I got for $14.95, but not really, because I have a lot of trade-in credit at this place, like you've probably heard me say 1,000 times before. So I basically get a lot of things for free here, just because I've traded in so many things over the years that I have tons of credit that I never use until I need it. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, and we're going to make sure it fits, and then we'll clean everything up. And thankfully there's no soldering or anything needed. This just plugs in. And here you go. You can see there's a little bit of a difference. This one looks dirtier. It looks a little more bent. And this one looks quite a bit newer. Oh yeah, I can totally see a huge difference. So here's the new one. And we're going to test it out just to make sure it works. And there you go, it's a fit. So we're gonna take it back off, we're gonna clean this up, and then we'll get this Nintendo put back together, and we'll work on some of the cosmetic flaws. All right, we're back, and what I want to do is just kind of have a look at everything here, and the capacitors still look really good. There's no leakage or anything, and it's just really dusty. This big capacitor right here looks okay, and that's really all there is to it. There's not a whole lot going on here, as you can see. The Nintendo's a pretty basic system. It's got a pretty basic PCB. You've got some chips on it, and you've got a couple of ports, and then you've got where the cartridge slot goes and some capacitors, and that's really it. So I'm going to start by just cleaning this up with some IPA. And as you can probably see, it's just a little bit dusty. There's not really much grime, so that's good. That said, we do want to get that dust off of there as much as we can. While the yellowing's not perfect and there are some scratches, it's nice and clean. I've got a method that I'm going to try out for the scratches, and maybe it'll take care of a little bit of the yellowing too. I don't know, probably not. But as long as it takes care of some of the scratches, that'd be okay. And we're going to go ahead and get started with that right now before we put that together. All right, this is what we're going to use. This is Brasso. This is a metal polish. You can polish various things with it, and it's got a little bit of an abrasive inside of it. So what we're going to do is just lightly buff it onto the Nintendo with a sponge, and then we're going to wipe it off with a rag. And that might take a little bit of this discoloration off. I'm doubtful, but it might also take some of the scratches off. We're going to give it a shot. And yes, I know I'm going heavy on it, but that's okay. And we're going to do a couple of rounds of this just to see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and take the abrasive side of this and just hit it a little bit just to see. I just want to see. Alright, now, it didn't get rid of the discoloration. It might have made it a touch lighter, but I don't believe so. And you'll notice it's not going to get rid of these crazy deep scratches. Like, you just can't do that. But it did get rid of a ton of tiny, tiny, tiny little scratches. Like, this thing had little scratches all over it, and now it's just got a couple of big ones. Okay, I'm ready to assemble this and get it put back together. But before we put the top piece on, I'm going to take care of this having no door. I just got a new Ender 3 Pro 3D printer, and we're going to print a door for it. So that'll be kind of exciting. And once we get the door printed, we're going to put it on, and that should take care of that for now. Hey, I just wanted to interrupt the video to say that the 3D printed part that you will see later is temporary. I have this part on order, but it did not arrive in time for this video. I will be doing a very quick video in about a week or so when this part gets here of the installation. Funny enough, the 3D printed part that you're about to see actually cracked when I was putting it on, so I super glued it later off camera, but I'm just going to leave that on for now, until this part arrives, and like I said, I'll do another video. So back to your scheduled programming. Here's the spare bottom cover that I have. We'll go ahead and put that on really quick. All right, this was 3D printed with my Ender. This is a temporary until I can get a better door. And there it is. Overall, it's not perfect, but it'll keep the dust out. It'll keep everything nice and square and neat and tidy looking. All right, so let's get this thing hooked up and we'll see how it plays. So, source some new parts. I got this for about $7 on Amazon. And it's not an official controller, but it looks just like the real thing. And it feels pretty good. That's nice and fresh and new. It's got a nice length of cable. This I had laying around. It fits the Nintendo just fine. It is just a regular AC adapter. And this I sourced for $2.95, again paid for with trade credit. This is used, but it's in really nice condition, and it is an official one. Before we put an old game in, we want to clean it up. We're going to do that just with a Q-tip and some IPA. As you can see, I got this for $2.95. It's one of my favorite games, Double Dribble. I got this cover on and it cracked, like I think I explained earlier in the video, and I didn't want to wait for the part to come from eBay anymore, so went ahead and ordered the actual door on Amazon. So we're going to go ahead and take this apart again, and we're going to put on an actual Nintendo door, because I just didn't feel right doing the 3D print. I wanted this thing to be correct. Now the way this should work is we've got to lift this up, and then we can put the stuff on, and then we close it back up. Now that lifts off, and the new door slides on. So now we're in place. We're going to put this back on, flip it over, and reinstall everything. And as you can see, it's not quite the right color, so that's probably another reason not to retro bright. Just, let this get a little darker. It might get closer to matching eventually, but there you go. We've got a door. It stays closed. It's a really good fit. It's perfect. All right, so let's get this put back together, and we'll see if it works, and that'll be it. All right, we've got it hooked up, and I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited to see what this thing can do. And look at that, it works. Now we've got our controller here, and let's give it a shot. That's it. It looks like it works. It works beautifully. So restoration done, in my opinion. Thank you so much for coming along with me while we restored this Nintendo. My wife is going to be so excited because she's had this for decades. And it was just sitting there so dilapidated, unplayable, and more than anything, I just wanted to get this restored for her so she could enjoy it again. Now I have to source a copy of Mario 3 for her, and then we'll be all set to go. And I do appreciate you watching. I'm on Patreon, if anybody wants to support the channel. There's going to be some awesome rewards going up soon. We're almost at 900 subscribers, and I'm so excited about that, because that means we're going to get close to 1,000, and that's a huge landmark that I never thought I'd reach. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing and liking. Check me out on Twitter as well. Thanks for watching Retro Tech Toys. And I'll see you next time.